Okay, everybody, good morning. It's 8:02 in beautiful Portland, Oregon, and we're going to get started right now with this webinar about SharePoint site provisioning. And this is a build it session, so you're actually going to see me building out this solution right here live in front of you. And I have copious notes, so hopefully everything will go exactly as planned. Um, Let me quick introduce myself. My name is Phil Gold, and I am a longtime communications and learning professional. I spent 15 years at Nike, and my last position there was Global Training Manager for Nike Technology. I left there in about, in 2017, and have been acting as an independent consultant and working with Infowise and a couple of other companies since then. The connection with Infowise is kind of amusing because I had used Ultimate Forms at Nike for years. I was quite familiar with it. And when I left Nike, I started creating courses, online courses for LinkedIn Learning. I've got, I think, 15 courses published right now. And one of them was a course on using Ultimate Forms for SharePoint. And the Infowise guys did not know about that ahead of time. And when that class got published, they saw it and they were very excited, and they contacted me and said, thank you. And by the way, would you be interested in working with us? And I said, yes, absolutely. Of course I would. So that's how that's why I'm here speaking to you today. Now, let's talk about what we're going to be doing. Couple of ground rules first for the session today. I'm going to ask that you please use the questions in the GoToMeeting tool. There are other Infowise people on the line. They are monitoring the questions, and they will be answering them as we go. We might have a brief Q&A at the end of the presentation if there's time for that. I am recording this as we're doing it, and this recording will be posted to YouTube, and there will be a link from the Infowise Solutions site as well. That should be up later today. It does take a little while for these things to render, but latest it'll be online tomorrow. And then also at the very end, we're going to have a free giveaway. We're going to be giving away an Infowise polo shirt. Now, unfortunately, that is only available to people in in the United States. We can't ship to other countries, even Canada. It's just too complicated. So if you're still with us at the end of the show and you feel like participating, there will be a little contest, but please U.S. people only. Not meaning to discriminate, but that's just the way it goes. So let's talk about first, what is the problem that we're trying to solve today? So you may have in your SharePoint environment, you may have the necessity to provision and deploy SharePoint sites for a lot of other people. If you're an admin, you may be getting requests in semi-frequently for people who need their own SharePoint site for their business unit, for their department, for a project they're working on, for some other reason. I know in large companies, uh, some companies have thousands of SharePoint sites and subsites. So there can be a lot of this going on. And provisioning new sites can be a pretty time-consuming process. Now, if you're doing it manually, it can be a real burden. However, there are ways to automate this. Now, you could do this with a PowerShell script. I'm going to be completely transparent here. If you want to get into PowerShell, you can do everything that I'm going to show you and more, but it's going to require a developer. It's going to require a lot more time and effort and testing. The beauty of Ultimate Forms is that it's possible to build out some fairly robust solutions using Ultimate Forms with no code and no special skills. You just need to understand the tool and be used to using the tool. Now, another caveat, um, what I'm looking for in this solution, the way I want my process to run, the user is going to submit their request, and then a provisioning team member is going to validate that request, and they're going to okay the site creation. The site creation at that point will happen automatically, and some documents will move into the new site automatically, and new permission groups will also be created in the new site automatically. And then the requester is going to get an email advising them that the site is ready and provide some links to stuff. Now, there are about 1 billion different ways that you could do this. So the solution that I am going to demonstrate is just one solution. And this one fits the criteria that I've got in my mind. There are certain things that I want to happen that I have reasons for, but your reasons may always be different. Um, and you need to think about what your needs are, what your process are. Um, they're going to be not exactly the same as mine, and that's okay. Ultimate Forms is a flexible enough tool that it can cover a wide variety of circumstances and a wide variety of requirements. So if I'm doing something and you're asking yourself, well, why is he doing it that way? I'm doing it that way because it's the way that I decided I was going to do it. That's my real reason. Um, and you may not decide to do it the same way. You may take a different approach. That's okay. This is just one possible solution. So those are my caveats. Let's go into Ultimate Forms and take a look. I'm going to minimize that. I'm going to minimize this. Well, it doesn't want me to minimize it. I'll just kind of get this out of my way here. Okay. So I've got a brand new, well, relatively new site called Site Provisioning. And this is the site that my technical staff is going to use to provision websites, SharePoint sites for other people in the organization. And the only thing that I've really got ready here is I've built out my list. Now, in SharePoint and in Ultimate Forms, pretty much everything starts with a list. So you need to have that list going first. This list is relatively simple. I've got request ID, I've got the name of the requester for the new site, their phone number, I've got an email, and this is the only fancy thing that I've done, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. I've got a department, I've got what kind of site they're looking for, I've got who the site owner is and who the secondary site owner is. And by the way, this is something, if you're provisioning sites, you should never give a site that only has one site owner. There should always be two site owners. That's a rule that I think is people should make mandatory, because what happens if person number one is not available? It just, so often you need that second person. I would just make it a rule. Reason for the site, just a little text, the date it's required, the requested name of the site, and you can see some nonsense there. Assigned to is what site provisioning technician has been assigned to this, and I've just left that blank for the moment. Is the name available? This is an important thing. You can't have two sites with the same name, so I need a check. And this is one of the things that, this is a manual step in here. The person who this is assigned to needs to check and make sure that that name is available. They say yes, then they deploy the site, then they confirm that the site is created, and there's the URL for the new site, okay? Now, there's a couple of fancy things. There's actually a couple of fancy things. I said the only fancy thing was this requester email. What I've done and we're going to build this as we go. I'm using the requester name and I'm copying that into the email field, but I've changed the format to email instead of name, so it populates as an email. Anyways, let's start with building out the form, because I think that's the place that we need to start with. So if we look at the stock form, here's Modern Experience. Notice I'm working in the Modern Experience because we all need to get used to that. Here is the stock form. It's not as bad as SharePoint forms used to be, but it could still be a lot better. So let's cancel out of that. And let's go into the Modern Form Builder, the Modern Form Designer in Infowise, or Ultimate Forms, excuse me. If you haven't been playing with this Modern Form Designer yet, definitely play with this. Oh, gonna reset. There's stuff in there. I don't want you to see that. I want to build it for you. Okay. So we're starting out with a blank form here. And the way the form designer works, the way that I like to work with it, is I always like to think of it as working from containers down. There's things nested inside of things, nested inside of things. So I always like to start with a container. And you saw I moved one up there. Now I want the information in my form to be separated on different tabs. And on those tabs, some of the tabs I only want the requesters to see. Other information I want everybody, well, I want the team member who's responsible for building out the site to see. So I'm going to be playing around and creating some rules and things as we go too. But we'll start by putting in some tabs. And I'm going to rename these tabs. Oops. I'll start by calling this one requester. That'll be the requester information. This second tab will be site information. And I need another tab here for validation. And you see, as I'm typing these tabs are just creating right there. Isn't that slick? This is pretty nice. When it was a bit of a shock to the system, this being so different from the other site or form building tool. But man, as I've come to use this, I really like this. I think this is way cool. So on the requester tab, we will start with requested by requester name. There we go. And we'll put requester phone. And we'll put requester department. And I'm not going to put the email in there because the email is going to fill out automatically. Okay, we're going to make that happen automatically. On the site information tab, we'll have the requested site name. That's a good thing to start with. And then a reason for the site. And we'll have site owner 1 and site owner 2. And what else do I need there? Oh, have to have the type of the site. Type of site. This is going to be very important. So we'll get that in there. Okay, great. I've got copious notes on this, and hopefully I don't miss anything as I'm going. As you can imagine, I've already built this out once. But we're starting from scratch for this show. Okay, so on the validate, we want the assigned to person, and we want to make sure that the name is available. Good. And then create and confirm. We want the deploy site button, and we want confirm site. And that's going to be a manual step when we get to that point as well. Okay, So let me just check my stuff. I've got requester name, phone, and department. I've got site name, type of site, reason for site, owners 1 and 2. I've got assigned to and name available. And I've got deploy site and site creation. Okay, that looks like everything that I wanted to have. Now, when my users come in and request a new site, I don't want users seeing the validation tab or the create and confirm tab on a new item. I don't think that's necessary. So what I want to do is I want to create some rules that will hide these tabs on new items and then make them visible for edit and display. So I click into the this region here. You have to be a little careful on this. You might think you click the tab itself. You don't. You've got to click into this region here, this container inside the tab, and we will create a rule, and we will make this hidden on new. And we will say hide on, or hide validation tab on new. It's a good idea to put titles in here because otherwise it's going to say permission 1, permission 2, and you'll be confused. You won't know what's going on. So hide validation hidden on new. That's all we need to do there. And whenever you create a hide rule, you have to create a reveal rule as well. So we're going to say make it writable on edit and display. And we'll save that. Now I'm gonna check this, okay, as we go so that I don't do everything and then go back and find things don't work. So I'm gonna check what I've done so far and just make sure that it's looking kind of the way I want it to. So I'm gonna go ahead and publish the form. Okay, form is published, and let's go back to the form and take a quick look. And what we should see here when I start a new one, the validate tab should not be there. Yep, validate is not there, but requester phone, department, that's a click down. Yep, that's good. Okay, site information, that's a radio button. That's good. That's what I wanted. Create and confirm. Okay, so far so good. Let's just look at one that is not a new one, and we should see that validate tab there. Yep, okay, that's there. All right, so far everything is working exactly the way we want. So let's go back in and keep working on this form. We've got the first set of rules for the validate tab, and we've also got to do the same thing for create and confirm. Let's build a couple of rules there. Make that hidden on new, or hide. New. And oops. Now, the system is smart enough. I'll say write, but when it comes to display, it actually won't be writable in display. It'll just show as readable. But that's what we want to do right there. So we've got those two. Now, the other thing that I want to do, I want to prevent people with lower levels of access viewing or changing the validation or create tabs. I don't want a user to request a site and then go in and approve their own site. That's not how it works. So I want to put in another level of permissions. I want to protect I want to protect these tabs from lower level users. So I'm going to add another rule that the validation tab is hidden for users in the team visitors. So the way I've set up the permissions in this, I guess I need to backtrack a little bit. I have set up this site with specific permissions. Visitors can go in and edit this list, or they can contribute to the list, meaning they can add new items to it. But members and owners are the ones who have the permissions to create sites and stuff. So I'm going to hide this in all circumstances for visitors. And whenever you do, oh, see, I got a name in there. I need to change that. Hide tab for visitors. And then we'll reveal the tab for the users who are in the team members or the team owners. Okay, so we'll make it available for them. Reveal. Okay, and we'll save that. And that should take care of that. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Okay, owners and members. Okay, good. That's those permissions that I wanted to have. Okay, I'm checking my notes here to make sure that I've got everything going on. I'm going to publish this and go back and check again. And now when we look at a new one, I'm not going to sign in with different permissions, but at least I want to make sure that on a new item, neither of those tabs show. Oh, okay, we got an issue there. That's not how it should be. So I did something wrong. We got to go in and figure out what that was. And this just goes to show you that people are not perfect. Okay, hide tabs for... and new. Oh, this is probably why it's probably overwriting. Let's reveal this and make it edit on. Yeah, that's what I did wrong. I still had it showing on new. It was being writable on new, so it's not hiding them. Hide. Actually, we need to hide for everybody. Well, maybe that's not necessary. I'm just thinking as I'm going along here, and is it really necessary for me to hide that tab for people who are working in the list on new ones? Maybe not. So we'll see how it turned out. I'm not going to waste a whole lot more. Ah, it did exactly what I wanted. Okay, perfect. We're good now. So here's a point though. I'm doing a little bit of extra work to hide those tabs on all new items, even if the person who's looking at it is somebody who it doesn't matter if they see it or not. They're one of the team members. So it's not strictly 100% necessary to do that. It's just something that I chose to do. And you may choose not to do that. But it's kind of up to you. There is a lot of variation available to you, and you can make this work the way you want it to work. Another thing that I do want to do, though, on the phone number, I want to validate this so that people have to add a valid phone number. So I'm going to use the validation feature over here, and I'm going to say pattern, and it's going to be a phone pattern, okay? And that will mean that the system is going to look and make sure that they've entered something that is considered a valid phone number. And I will put in a message, please enter a valid phone number. Now, the definition set that's used for this is pretty flexible, so you don't have to put in dashes, you don't have to put in parentheses around area codes and stuff. There's a pretty wide definition set of what a phone number looks like, and it's very accepting. You can make this more distinct, more defined if you care to, but I'm just using the default set, so it's a lot easier. Now, one other thing that I want to do on the validation, or actually on the create and confirm. So it's important to me that the technician who's responsible for creating the site has really gone and validated that the site name is available so they don't try and create a duplicate site. So I am going to hide this deploy site button unless they have said, yes, the site is available. This is a choice and it's yes or no. And unless the answer here is yes, I don't want this to even be an option to them. So I'm going to create a rule here, a permission rule. And what I'm going to say is I want this hidden on all forms unless, or actually I want it hidden as long as confirm site creation equals, actually not equals, let's do not equals. So if confirm site creation does not equal yes, then that button is going to be invisible. That's what I'm doing here. Hide deploy site if name not available. Okay. All right. Let's save it again and publish and take a quick look. And we'll start playing around with this. Okay. How are we looking? How are we looking for time? Oh, time is good. You guys are in for a long day. I think you know that. I've got up to a couple of hours. I probably won't use the whole time, but okay. So we've got requester, we've got site information. Okay, that looks good. That all looks good. Let's cancel out of that. Let's go ahead and say, let's edit this one here for a moment. Okay, we got our phone number in there. And create and confirm. Okay, oops. Now, see, that doesn't look right. This is saying yes. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to make the reveal command. Whenever you have a hide, there has to be a corresponding reveal. And you'd be amazed how easy that is to forget. Okay, so hide deploy if not, and reveal deploy if is. Mm-hmm. Okay, writable when name available equals yes. Okay, let's go back and check that, all right? It's easy to jump back and forth and check these things. The breadcrumb is right there. Takes us right back to the site. So don't don't get too far ahead of yourself is one of my recommendations here. Okay, deploy site is available there. Name available, yes. Now if I change this name available to no, aha, see, that worked. That deploy site button is not available. Yes. Okay, good. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So great. We are making progress. I think we've got our form laid out more or less the way we want it now. So we can start getting into some other things. What other things do I want to do? Well, one thing I do want is I want an ID number for the request. So I'm going to use the Ultimate Forms ID Builder to create this. I've actually done this a couple of times already, but we're going to go ahead and do it again. So request ID is the column that I'm using, and I want it for new items, and I want to prevent manual editing. And I'm going to just do really simple. It's new site, and then we're going to put in a numerator so that every new site, and we'll start it at 2. No, I'm just going to start it at right there, and we'll just go. And if I have a duplicate one for the moment, I'll accept that because I have some test items in there. But this is really all you need to do. You can pull information from the columns if you want. You can pull information from SharePoint or different functions if you want. You can build this out quite complicated. Whatever you need to do for your schema, you can do it. And there's, of course, tutorials there that'll help you do it, but I'm not going to get real fancy here because this is not of major importance to me. I just want to have a number. So, come on. All right, it's just hanging up a little bit here. Let me refresh the screen. Okay, it's hanging up a little bit more. All right, that's okay. I'm going to go and open up a new tab here so that we can keep going. All right, there we are. Oh, I don't want it 3 times. Okay. Because I was impatient and I was pushing the button. Okay, now we can close that. All right, so we've got our ID number built. Now, what do we need to do? Well, we need to start creating some actions. We need to start building some automated routines. And there's a fair amount of stuff that we need to build out here. And there's some different kinds of actions that we're going to be creating. So you're going to get a fairly good idea of some of the different capabilities that actions have. I think that most of the people who are watching today are already using Ultimate Forms. So some of this may not be new to you, some of it may. And we'll just work our way through. Now, the first thing I want to do is, you remember I had that requester email field. And in my list, that field is a person or group field from SharePoint. And I've picked for the format that I wanted to display is email format. But what I need to do is I need to copy the information from the requester name, which is also a people or group field, into that other field. So we're going to start by updating a list item, and we will update requester email field. It's always good to have a title that makes sense, and it doesn't hurt to have a description, but the description doesn't really have to be anything all that important. And we will run this one, new and edit, sure, doesn't matter, that's okay. Advanced settings, we really don't need to do anything in here right now. Sometimes you might want to set up a manual execution button if you're going to be doing some of these things manually. You might want to set up a log so that if things don't work, you can go in and find out why. We don't need that today, not necessary. What we do want to do is set some values here. So we want to have the requester email field be the information from the requester name field. Okay, and then we'll add that. And I don't think we need any extra conditions here, and I don't think we need any extra conditions here, so that we can just go ahead and add this right now. Okay, let's start creating a new item, and let's just check and see if some of these things work the way we want. This is a good point to try a new one. Actually, no, it's not. I'm not ready to do that yet because it'll confuse other things if I do that. Let's go back in and create a couple of other actions first. The next action I want to make is I want to start creating new sites. Now, this is something that you may not have used as an action, but it is one of the ones that we have available to us. Create site. Hey, that's pretty good. So this one, I'm going to use this one if somebody requests a project site. You remember I had different types of sites that were available to people. So we'll say create a project site. Now this is one of the types of sites that people might be wanting. So we'll go ahead and this will run on new items. Okay. Advanced settings. We don't have. I'm gonna put in a button just in case I decide to do this manually, but you don't have to worry about that. Now the action settings. Current site. The name of the site is going to be the requested site name. Okay, sounds good. That makes a lot of sense. The description is new project site. And you see, it's going to build as a sub-site of my site provisioning site that I'm in right now. So it's going to be a sub-site of this particular site. So all we need to add in here is the final bit of this string, and the final bit of the string is going to be requested site name. I'm going to keep it simple here. Language is going to be English. Template is going to be project site. You see all the different, these are all just different standard templates that are in there. We're going to take project site, and I'm going to choose, yeah, I'll go ahead and inherit permissions on this one. No, I'm not going to inherit permissions because I want to do something with permissions later. Oops, shouldn't have clicked add yet. It was too early. I needed to add in some conditions in there. Let's go back into here. I need some conditions here. Condition number 1 is type of site needs to equal project. And also, deploy site after the change needs to equal yes. So I don't want this to run until that button changes or that choice changes. When deploy site changes to yes, this action will run. Now I can go ahead and save this. Okay. Now, while I'm at it, I also want to build out another site creation one while we're at it. I'm not going to do a million of these. I'm just going to do a couple. I think you'll get the idea as we go forward. But this one, I'm going to create a team site for this particular one. Oops, that was interesting. Hope you're all enjoying the running commentary as I move through this. I'm not looking at questions, so other people are. If you're asking questions, I hope they're getting answered. I'm going to make this one executable as well. And once again, requested site name is going to be the name. And the string is also going to be requested site name. Now this one, instead of picking a template here, I'm going to use the template manager. Now, I don't know how many of you have used this feature. Not everyone has immediate access to it. Oh, you guys are going to be able to see what I'm doing here. I'm going to kill this for just a second. I'm not going to share my screen for just a second while I do this, so you don't see my password. Hang on. How do I do this? Stop showing screen. Okay. Hopefully I have stopped showing the screen while I am putting in my password here so that we can connect. And okay, I am going to pick show screen. Okay, you should all be back with me now, and we should be seeing the screen again. I picked a template from the list of templates that are available on the template manager. Just for the sake of giggles, let's go look at this right now. Template Manager is a feature that has been available. Oh, I need to log in again. Hang on. I got to hide my screen for a second. Okay. All right. You should be seeing it again. Okay, so the cool thing about this is that you can create templates that will carry over quite a bit of information. This has been made a lot more robust recently. And one of the things that the Infowise people are very happy about is that you can actually go into these Infowise solutions and see pre-built templatized sites that you can apply, and they will carry over list structure, they will carry over library structure. They don't carry over any information, they don't carry over data, but they do duplicate lists, libraries, and other structure pages. So it gives you a really great place to start if you need to create this kind of business solution. We're also going to be not always and not 100% putting in webinars. Like this here is the webinar that Will Cooper did last month about SharePoint forms. So he built out a site for this and added that site to the templates manager. So this is actually available now as a deployable solution. The one that we're working on today, I need to do a lot more work before this would be available as a template. We may be able to get something similar online available, but we'll just have to wait and see on that. So no promises there. But anyways, let's make our changes here. We want the type of site on this one to always equal team. That was team and not teams, right? I need to make sure. Because it's got to match exactly. And I can't remember if I said team or teams. Oh, site information. Team, okay. So team, we'll add that. And then deploy site after change equals yes. Okay, now I can add that. So I've got my fix the requester email field done. I've got my create a project site or create a team site. Let's do one more thing here now before we test anything else. Let's copy a document. Well, I'm going to add a document to the document to new project site. Okay. So when we'll run this on edit. Oh, that's another change that I need to make. Let me go back in here and fix this. I just saw that there's a problem, and I'm going to fix it now instead of fixing it later. This create project site and create team site, they needed to be on edit, not on new, because I don't want this happening right away when a requester puts in a field or a request. I want it to happen when the technician deploys this. So it's never going to happen on a new one. It will always be on an edit. Now, we'll do the same thing for the copy document. Add document to project site library. And that will happen on edit. And the action settings. Now, this one is a little bit tricky because you need to be pointing it at the correct place. So we're starting from the current site. This is where the document is coming from. And it's coming from the documents folder. And ID equals ID. Okay, great. And which document are we moving? We are moving hang on. I'm looking at my notes and I need to make sure that I did this properly. Okay, we're going to move it to the documents folder. Now the runtime out, this is going to be a little bit tricky, the runtime value, because the runtime value needs to be whatever that new site is going to be. So I know that it's going to be a subsite of this site here. So I'm going to take that base, site provisioning, I'm going to put it in here. And actually, you can probably just do the tail end bit there. And then at the end, I'm going to put in requested site name, because that's going to be the name of the site that it's going to go to. Okay. Here, I think I can just do ID equals ID, and it'll just take everything. Oh, no. I know. I need to go back into here for a second, and I need to go to my documents, and I'm going to use this ID number. So ID number 1. That's the better way to do this. ID equals 1. So the ID of the document is document number 1, and that'll move across. And then if I had more documents, I could do and, but I'm just moving 1 as an example here right now. Okay, so let me look at my notes. That equals 1. This is all correct down there. I'm not putting it in any special folder. I don't have to do anything special here. And I don't think I need any special conditions either. But you know what? Let's just make sure that this is project. Okay, because this one goes to the project, so I want to make sure that that goes into a project site. No, you know something? Because it's going to be reading the wrong place. Let me take that out. Let me take that condition out. I don't think I need to put a condition in there. We'll find out as we test this. Okay, so I'm adding that. All right, I think we're ready to test these now. Let's go ahead and go back into our site request list, and let's see if the stuff that we've asked for thus far works properly. Because there's a few other things we're going to ask for, but let's start with this first. So got a new item, and requester is going to be me, and my phone number is 555-555. See the enter a valid phone number? Oh, that's valid now. It likes that. What department am I in today? I'll be in legal today. You can call me Lawyer Phil. All right, and site information, requested site name. Let's do something really interesting like Project ABC. And this is going to be a project site. And the reason for the site is because, and site owner number 1 is going to be me. And site owner number 2, let's make Will the site owner number 2. Okay, that's all I need to put in there. We'll go ahead, we'll save that. Now, that should have filled in my email address right there. Let's refresh and see if it does it. Yep, there we go. So that worked. It went and took the name information and converted it, added it to this field and converted it to the email format. So good. That worked exactly the way we wanted it to. Oh, I forgot to put some information in. Let's get in here and edit this. We need site information. Oh, I forgot to put the date field in. Okay. So on my form, I forgot to put the date field in. Let's go ahead and cancel this, and let's fix that real fast. Form designer. That should go in here on date required. Let's put that right. Put it at the bottom. Okay. And we'll republish that. You know, the fact of the matter is, guys, that, you know, this is why you go back and check your work and make sure that you're doing it properly, because you will find that you have forgotten things, as I did right there. And it was a pretty simple and obvious thing, but also a pretty simple and obvious thing to fix. So let's put that date in. Let's make it next Saturday. We'll save that. Okay, now how are we looking? Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so now at this point, in my idealized mental flow, a technician is monitoring this site all the time, and so that they'll see that there's a new request. Now, we could put an alert in here and have that go to the technician or a shared mailbox. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to put in some alerts later, but not right this second. So you have a choice at this point, and I'm choosing the easy way. But let's go in. I'm now a technician, and I've seen that there's a request, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to edit that request. And I see here's my information on that, and here's my information on this, and validation, it's going to be assigned to me again. Now, I have to say, is that name available, yes or no? And I want this to be a manual thing. I want the technician to actually go and look and verify that this name is available, that they, enter the name into SharePoint and make sure that they don't come up with anything. I think that that's an important step. And there's probably some other rules that could be built around this, but I'm not going to do them right now. I'm just going to make it a manual step. But he's going to say yes, and then he's going to go over to create and confirm, and he's going to say deploy site, yes, and he's going to save it. Now, if everything went the way that we expect it to go, I should be able to go over to my site contents, and I should be able to look at subsites, and I will be able to see my new project ABC site. And there it is right there. And I'll go in and take a quick look. And here's project ABC. And there's a document that has already been transferred in there. That's that document ID number A. So really good news, guys. Everything worked exactly as I wanted it to so far. Hooray! Now, because this is going to run like that fast, we're already doing a lot of work, a lot of automation that's going to speed up things overall. Another thing that I want to do, though, is I want to add permission groups to the new site that will enable the new site owners to go in and do whatever they need to it. So let's go back in to our actions and let's see if we can't make this happen. So what I want to do, my next thing that I want to do is I want to create a new permission group. Actually, I want to create a couple of permission groups, 3. I want to create a visitors group and a users group, or a owners group and a members group. So I'm going to go to manage permissions, and this may be another action that you haven't used all that much, but we will add owners to new site. Well, add owners group to the new site. We're going to add the owners group to the new site. And this will happen on edit. And this one, I'm definitely going to need to be able to do that manually, at least for the demonstrations. So I'm putting that button in. And when you're working with permissions, there's a variety of permissions that you can manipulate here. So first thing we want to do is we want to create a group. and we're going to apply it to the site, and the site is not the current site. The site is the site that we just created. So we can take this again and put that into the runtime value, and actually we'll, once again, we'll take out the prefix there, and then we'll add in the variable here, requested site name. Okay, so that's going to go there. And what is going to be the name of this? Well, the name of this is going to be requested site name owners. I always have felt that it is a very good idea when you are creating permission groups to have the name of the site in the permission group. If you've ever looked at a long list of permission groups and not been exactly sure which one is which, this makes it a lot simpler. Okay, so they're going to have full control. Yes, 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 that's what's good. And I don't think that we need to have any conditions here. I think that this will be okay without conditions. So we'll add that. And let's go back and, well, I'm going to run this one manually. Oh, no, the conditions would be, because we want this to happen when we're editing. So actually, what would be the normal condition here would be deploy site after change equals yes, because this would happen as part of the normal procedure. If this was the very first time we were doing this, then that would happen automatically as part of that. So we'll say yes there, but I will go back in and we will test this as a manual thing. And I'm going to go ahead and run this action, add owners group to new site. See, this is why I created that button there, so I could add that in. Success, it says. Well, let's see. Let's go back and see if we have success or not. Yes, I'm going to go into the site permissions, site settings, and site permissions. Oh, I don't see that. So that didn't work the way I expected it to. Okay, I must have done something wrong. Let's go back into let's go back in here and see if I can figure out what I did wrong. All right, add owners group. Okay, action settings, create a group, owners. Am I going to the right place? No, I'm not going to the right place. That's probably what happened. Hello. Okay, I just forgot to click OK. That's all it was. That's how easy it is to do. Just remember that none of us are perfect. Let's try that again, though. Poo. Okay. So I bet I need to go into my permissions here. I bet that added in here, yep, site provisioning. we need to delete those. All right, I'll do it the easier way. I will just change the name. There. Since it now has a different name, it should work just fine. Did I save that? Let me check before I do this again. Come on. Oh, that's because I'm on the wrong thing. Okay, let's get out. Now, some of you are thinking, gee, he jumps around an awful lot. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, that time we have success. So when I go into my site contents and go back to our project ABC and go into the site settings and go into site permissions, there we are. There it is. Since I already had, by mistake, put it in the wrong place, I had to come up with a different name. So here's the different name right there. Okay, that's good. Now, let's do a secondary action that will move the owner number 1 and owner number 2 into that new group. Okay, so that's the next thing that we want to automate. So once again, we're going to have a action that is managing permissions and add owners to owners group. And we'll make that executable. Okay, and here we're going to add to group. And the site is going to be, we got the whole thing here now, so we'll take all that. Sorry. Got it all. And user is going to be site owner number 1. And unfortunately, we have to do these. We have to do 2 of these. We have to do one for site owner 1 and one for site owner 2. And the group that we're going to is Project ABC Owners Test. So we had that in there, which was nice. We could just go ahead and pick that from the list. And conditions, once again, will be deploy site after change equals yes, because we want this to happen. Originally, we want this to happen automatically. It's not going to be automatic this time because we have to, because we have to manually run it because the thing has already been created. But okay, well, we don't want calendar, but we can get to the right place really easy. And once again, we're going to run that action, that new action manually. Success. Here's permissions. Let's go in and look. Yep, and there I am. I've been added to the group because I was the owner. Okay, so that worked too. Now, in an ideal world, you would go also through here and you would add in the members group and you would add in the visitors group. and you would add the second user in there. I'm going to skip that stuff for right now. I mean, you've seen me do it. I'm not going to just repeat a bunch of things that'll be the same for the moment. I don't think it's necessary. But what I do want to do is I want to add a little bit more information into our request list here, because one of the things that I wanted to have available to us was the URL for the new site, because I'm going to need that in a minute. So I need an action that is going to put that URL in here. Now, I've already created the field here, and I've defined the field as a link. So all I need to do is update the list information on this. So this is fairly straightforward. I just realized I did something when I added the owner's name in. I used the full URL for the site. Once again, you need to start with the provisioning site and then put in the requested site name as the suffix. The action that I built will only work for that one site. So I did that part wrong. But you've seen me do that for other ones, so I think you understand what I'm talking about. Actually, let me go fix that right now. This is what I did wrong. On the action setting, I put in Project ABC. We don't want Project ABC. We want requested name. That's what it needs to be. It'll goof up if we don't do it that way. Okay, let's update list item, and we're going to add URL. And this is also going to happen. I'm going to make this happen on edit, and the advanced settings, I'm going to have it executable for right now. Now, we're going to update the new site URL. When I was playing with this, I goofed it up, so I had to put in a second one there. And the value is going to be all of this plus the requested site name. Okay, ID equals ID, okay. And we're going to put the same thing in here again when deploy site after change equals yes. Add that. And what did I forget? Oh, see, I forgot to add that line in. Okay, now we're good. So now I should be able to go back to my list. Jumping around a little bit there. Oops. Okay, it's not. Sorry. Hit the wrong button. Let's get out of there. You guys don't need to see my Photoshop. Okay, it's not in there now, but we're going to run that action. Success. And let's refresh the page. Okay, it's put it in there. It looks like it's a hyperlink. And there we go. That's it. That's what I wanted. Yay! Okay, so the last thing that I want to build for this is I want to build in an alert. And I want an alert that is going to go to the owners and tell them that they have got their new site and give them the link for it. But I also want to have another manual step in here. I want the technician to go in and check that link and make sure that the site built. And I want them to make sure that the permissions are there as they're supposed to be. So I don't want to turn this over to my new site owner without having it verified. So I've built in an extra step here, confirm site creation. So I'm going to use this as the trigger for my alerts. When this changes to yes, an alert will go out. So let's take a look at building that alert. Now, if any of you have heard me go on in the past, you know how much I love Infowise alerts. I think Infowise alerts are just totally awesome. I think they're really, really cool. And I've got webinars and other things about alerts and blogs, and you can go and read those. I'm not going to repeat myself too much right now. But we're going to create a new alert. Now, I have cheated a little bit. I already made a basic template. And this is always the place where you start, well, it's not all, it is a place where you can start when you are creating your new alert. I know Will believes that you should always start with the template. I believe that sometimes you should start with the template, but it's a starting point. What are you going to be sending out to your recipient? And you get to create your own thing here, and you can get pretty fancy on it. This one is very basic because I really just want to show the concept. But the subject is your site is ready. The request for the site is complete. Your new site is located at, and I've got the URL field in there. I've selected it from the list and added it in here as a variable dynamic information. And then if you have any questions, go ahead and contact us. Great. Also, I put in a little note here about training. For you people who don't have LinkedIn Learning available, you might want to put some other information. But if you do have LinkedIn Learning available, this is a great course. Really good for getting you started. So we've got that built. Let's go ahead and build out the rest of the alert. So notify owners of new site. That's a nice title. Current site, current list. Yes, it's operational. Recipients, who do we want it to go to? Well, we don't want it to go to Phil. We want it to go to users in column. We want it to go to site owner number 1. And we want it to go to site owner number 2. Okay, great. And what to send, which is really under what conditions to send. And item is modified, and the conditions are confirm site creation after change equals yes. I'm using this after change equals yes a lot today. But this is like really the appropriate thing. When to send? I'd say immediately. Immediately is good. And the template? Well, we just saw the template. Let's select that from the list. Now, I personally, if I'm not doing multiple conditions, I still like to put in the template name for the other conditions. This isn't absolutely strictly necessary, but I do it. It makes me comfortable. I've been told it's not necessary, but I do it anyways. So there we go. I'm going to add that. And this will be our new template. Okay, hachi chachi chachi, that looks great. And we'll go back to the site. And we'll go to the list. And we're going to edit this. So I am the technician, and I have validated that that site is created properly. And so I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to save that. And when I do, I should be getting an email. Oh, that's assigned to me. Let's see. Up, look, my new SharePoint site is available. And there's the URL, and there's support, and there's the other information. It worked exactly as I wanted it to. Hurrah! So, you know, for all practical purposes, I think this is pretty much what we wanted to show off today. How much time do we? We're kind of getting around to where we need to be wrapping it up. So, other things that you could do here, you could get really fancy if you wanted to. You could on your documents, you can the documents that you're carrying over, you can put all kinds of information in on there. If you're using one of the templated sites, there's going to be a lot of structure carried over. You could build in additional boilerplate descriptions in the form that would describe the different types of sites if you think your users need that, because you can add images and fragments to the form, and maybe set it so that if user selects a type of site as project, there'll be a little picture come up or a little explanatory text saying a project site has these characteristics. That could be very, very helpful. It depends on how robust you want to build this out. It depends on how much time you have available to you. But, as you can see, in an hour and a half, we've built out a lot of stuff. Now, an hour and a half for somebody who just knows how to work with Ultimate Forms and still made mistakes as he was going and had to go back and fix them. This is a heck of a lot faster and a heck of a lot more economical than having a developer write out a PowerShell script and test that and make sure that that works. So, I think the value is clear. Let's something else. If we wanted to do this, we could have gotten another fancy thing that we could have done. If we had wanted to maybe built out a chart and put it on the site that would show the amount of requests versus the amount of sites that had been deployed. We could stage that somewhere on here. As you can build charts using Ultimate Forms. I've done another webinar on that. It's simple and easy to do, and it works really nice, and it looks great in the modern experience as well if you use the modern app. So, the opportunities that you have available to you are kind of endless. I mean, it really depends very, very much on how fancy you want to get. Okay, so next steps. What happens next? I strongly encourage people, if there's anybody on the line who is not already using Ultimate Forms, you really want to download that trial and start playing with it. You will be amazed when you use it, the things that you can do. You will be so surprised. I had a discussion with somebody yesterday who has been trying to build out forms using Power Apps. And yes, it can be done. But yeah, it is more difficult. And there's a lot of things that you can do really, really fast using Ultimate Forms that take quite a bit of effort using Power Apps. So it's a good option for you. If you buy Ultimate Forms, you do get unlimited support. That's included with the purchase. Support people are standing by, waiting to help you. There's also a 2-hour Kickstart training that is included. That is a pre-recorded training session, but it's pretty informative. And I know that Will has either just finished or is in the process of finishing updating that to show all of the new tools. And there is also more in-depth training available if you want. We've got foundations training, we've got advanced training. We'll be happy to discuss your training needs. These are things that are available to people. If you are not yet a user and you want a demo, you can request a demo from the website. Most people here probably are users, but that's available to you. You can also contact us, contact me directly. I am not a great troubleshooter. If you want troubleshooting, you should contact support. But if you've got questions about features, either give me a call or reach out to the account reps and join us for next month's webinar. We've got the webinars listed on the site, and messages usually pop up inside the Ultimate Forms tool as well. So we've got stuff available for you. Definitely go back and look at the webinars that have already been done. They're available on the Infowise site. They're also available on YouTube, and today's session will be on YouTube when we are when I get it all rendered up and put up. Like I said, probably today, maybe tomorrow, but it'll definitely be up within the next 48 hours. So it's time for the giveaway. What I want you to do, I have picked a number, and I want you, if you are inside the United States, oh, Eric, you've already guessed. You've already put in a number. Okay, people are putting numbers in. I need to scroll through. The first person who hits the number exactly is going to win the prize. I'm looking. By the way, guys, one answer each, please. You're not allowed to just shoot out stuff at random. Okay. I'm looking. If we don't get it in a minute or two, then whoever's closest is gonna be the winner. Okay. Any more? Everybody done? Oh, no, there's another one. Okay, I'm giving you 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. It looks like everybody has answered. Okay, so my magic number today was 43. Who's closest? Actually, I think Eric might be the closest one. Yep, Eric Real is the winner today. He is the person with the closest number. So Eric, do me a favor, and please send me an email. Oh, sorry. Send me an email with your mailing address and your shirt size. And if you send that to me, we will make sure that we get a shirt sent out to you right away. So that's pretty much it for me today. I want to thank you all for sticking with me, and I hope that we provided you some interesting and useful information today. And as I said, keep an eye open for the recording of this. It will be available soon, and we'll see you in Ultimate Forms. Any last minute questions? I don't really like this question thing. It only shows a very narrow line. Okay, looks like everybody's happy. Okay, thank you, everybody. You all have a great day, and I am going to go ahead and close this down, and we'll see you all later. Bye-bye. Oops, wait a minute. There was one last question there. Can I convert a classic form into a modern? No, you can't convert. You actually have to rebuild it. Um, it's not a simple conversion thing. So sorry about that, but it is pretty easy to do. Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay. That's it. I'm ending the webinar. Bye bye, everybody.